This is my 15.3 of sports injuries, and we're going to start off here with the different types of injuries. We've got 4 here. They are broken bones, bleeding, head injury, and strains and sprains. Now, broken bones, obviously we all know what a broken bone is. It's a break in the bone. And this is how you're going to have to deal with this injury if someone has, sustained a broken bone. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to check for danger. The second thing, you're going to check range of movement at wherever the injury was. And then to help with inflammation and pain and swelling of it, you're going to apply the ice pack to the injury. And then obviously you're going to place injured area into sling or bandage and then send them off for proper medical care. And this is just an example of how this would happen during a sort of sporting example here. And we're going to move on to the next one here, which is strains and sprains. And again, you're going to want to check for danger. So just make sure the area's nice and clear, so there's no one in the way, there's no balls bouncing about, there's no equipment in the way. And then again, we're going to check range of movement. So say someone has sprained their ankle, you're going to want to check the range of movement just to see how bad it is and see if they can, how bad it is. And then you're going to elevate it. So, if they've got a sprained ankle, you're going to want to lift it up and put it, either on top of your knee, on top of a ball or a bench or a chair or anything that's near, just to keep it up. And then, to help again with swelling, you're going to place the ice pack on the injury and apply pressure with that, and then put the bandage on. That's just another little example here of, the protocols that you have to follow when someone has sustained a sprain or a strain. That was just a little example there. And then we're going to move on to the third one, which is bleeding. And again, with any injury, you're going to want to check for danger, just to make sure that everything's out of the way, nothing's going to cause harm to the person who sustained the injury. And then for this one, you're going to want to apply pressure just to help with the bleeding, and just to stop it. And then place the plaster or pad across the injury to act as almost a plug for the bleeding, to sort of catch it and, keep that pressure applied as you're doing it, just so it helps with bleeding, and wrap the bandage around that again with the pressure and elevate the cut area. And obviously, if possible, if they've cut their head, that's going to be slightly more difficult than if they've cut their arm. And again, we've got another little example here of the protocols that must be followed when someone sustains an injury that is, bleeding. That was a really good little example there. And then the last one we're going on to is head injuries. And again, check for danger, make sure there's nothing in the way. And then for this one, because it could be slightly more serious and they're obviously going to need slightly more medical attention, you want to check if the individual is conscious. And for this sort of example, we're just going to assume that they are. And if they are conscious, you're going to want to sit them upright, apply an ice pack to their head, and apply a bandage around the ice pack on their head, just to keep that in place. And again, a really good little example here. Okay. What to do if the casualty is actually unconscious? You've got two choices here. It's either the recovery position or CPR. Recovery position is just, putting them on their side, keeping their knee up just to keep their airways open so that they can still breathe, and just lay them on their side in case they choke. And then CPR, just putting pressure on the lungs just to bring that airflow up. And this is another really good example. And that was just an example of the recovery position. Unfortunately, we don't have an example of CPR because anyone that's not actually unconscious and doesn't need it is slightly dangerous.